Welcome to the RPGBOT.Podcast. I'm Randall James. With me is Tyler Kamstra.
Hi, everybody. I feel like there's an Americana joke in here somewhere, Randall.
And Ash Eli.
Greetings, overlords. Welcome to the RPGBOT.Podcast. Automata's official and favorite podcast. You know that if this podcast existed in the realms, Automata would have this on repeat. They would love this show.
I sure hope so.
Be the best. Numbers, mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Numbers, mechanics, RPG bot.
Optimization.
Just the dice math episode on repeat.
Yeah, it's got everything.
Yeah.
You know, a place where everything is lawful and orderly.
Mm-hmm.
And is predictable and predictable. That sounds nice. Right? That sounds nice right about now.
Yeah.
It's like, have you seen our show notes? Lawful and orderly.
Sir, our show notes are neatly ordered.
Mechanus.
There's
What a
bullets, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
What a coincidence. We're all going to talk about Mechanus tonight.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, it's fair. We should try that sometime. Just, we don't plan the card. Everybody gets an idea what they want to come in with, and we don't share it. We just come in and like start going. Just see where it winds up.
You know what?
Okay, Tyler, I'm going to ask you this.
We're going to do that for the Limbo episode. How about that?
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Beautiful.
Mechanus,
Okay.
also known as the boring dimension in the D&D universe, which, you know, sometimes boring can be nice, but in most cases, it's just boring with some boring, and more boring. You know that guy named Steve in your office who's constantly talking in a monotone voice and is just constantly talking about TPS reports and stuff like that? That's Mechanus. Everybody is Steve in Mechanus.
Steve, don't listen to him. You're a beautiful person, and I love you.
No, Steve, if your name is Steve, I don't like you. Change your name.
Consider Steven. Stevie?
No, that's worse. That's worse. Stevie? Okay, Stevie, I will accept Stevie. That's fine.
Well, what if they
please.
upgraded to from Steve to Steven and their monotone voice was monotone but slightly aggressive? Is that better?
Even worse. No,
Okay.
That's so much worse. Are you kidding me?
Okay.
No. If you're
Over-aggressive
going
robot.
to change your name from Steve to some other type of Steve, the best one you can go with is Stefan. Please, just go with Stefan. That's fun. That's
the
interesting.
Urkel route. Like,
Yeah.
I'm no longer a nerd. I'm
Urkel.
Stefan. Okay.
Stefan Urkel. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
great.
Okay. I feel a weird HR call coming to my phone the moment this releases, and I just want to acknowledge that right now. On that note, Tyler, I'm going to ask you the same question that I ask every time we do this. Usually it will be as irrelevant as this time because we've already actually answered the question. Tyler, what the heck is happening?
All right. Well, tonight we're going to talk about the plane of Mechanus. So in the D&D cosmology, this is the plane of lawful neutral.
Yeah, I'm going to need you to go ahead and elaborate because I don't really understand all this Mechanus talk. And if you could go ahead and get me those TPS reports on Friday, that'd be great.
Look,
Tyler, it's just that we're covering the bullets in the show notes now. I'll make sure you get a copy. Okay, I'll get it sent to your inbox.
All right.
Yeah. I'm going to need you to go ahead and change all of this. We're actually we switched to Helvetica font. We're not doing Arial anymore. Okay?
All right, gentlemen, I'm going to
Somebody
have to
didn't get the
interrupt
memo.
you right there. I'm going to invoke the absolute hierarchy. We are more than two polygonal sides away from each other, and therefore we are not allowed to interact directly, and I'm not allowed to accept orders from either of you.
I hate it already. I hate it.
Okay. There's a lot of inside jokes, or if you know Mechanus, they're outside jokes. But at the moment, in a view, hey, here's the deal: you listen to this whole podcast and come back to the beginning again, come back through. It's gonna be great.
Also, very important, when you get back to this point in the episode and Randall says that again, you do have to listen to the episode again full time through. I'm sorry we trapped you in the infinite loop, but this is the law of absolute order, and them's the rules.
My head hurts.
Mechanus. That's fair. All right, so Mechanus is the plane of absolute order. Most of the things that live here are constructs. And as you might expect from the plane of absolute order, everything is very orderly, strict, rigid, and there's a lot of routines and rules, and everybody's very, like, I don't even want to say happy with that. They're all neutral. They all feel neutral about it. Like, it is, this is the state we have chosen. We accept this.
That's realistic, though. Like, if things are meant to be a particular way, and that is obviously the way that they should be and are and will always be, why would you have an emotion about that? Wouldn't it just be like, I'm not happy, I'm not upset.
Wouldn't it be nice if someone violated the natural order of things, that they would just get a courier route sent to their doorstep and then just erased out of existence because they don't adhere to the natural order of the universe?
Am I right? Okay.
That'd be great.
Imagine winning that prize. You wake up one day like Emrakul the Chaotic. That's a deep reference, but Emrakul the Chaotic opens his front door one day, meets a nice construct, and is summarily erased from existence for being too chaotic.
Yeah.
All right, so
Tony 2012, you are now under arrest for crimes against the multiverse.
Okay, so let's talk about what Mechanus is, because some of the planes are a little wacky. Like, we've gone over a few where they're basically a weird planet. This one is extra weird. So Mechanus is made up of a network of interlocking gears the size of small countries. Actually, I can't even say small countries. They're just described as country-sized, in quotes. The gears all interlock. Yeah, I know. What size is a country? Like, there's some countries the size of...
I guess we're going with the size of France.
Sure.
Something between Monaco and Russia.
There you go.
Jesus.
Yeah.
No, Jesus is actually smaller.
Right. So gears, giant interlocking gears. All of the gears on the plane interlock. They all turn. No one is sure why exactly. The hypothesis offered in several texts is it's doing some kind of calculation. No one knows what it's calculating, not even omniscient deities. So, great big gears. Both sides of the gears are typically habitable. So, like, the art depicting Mechanus often will have, like, here is some essentially small continent on one side of a gear, and then on the other side of the gear is basically an upside down, completely different continent. There doesn't seem to be any, like, rhyme or reason, as far as I can tell, as to, like, what is on an individual gear, but everything is perfectly balanced. There's equal amounts of air, earth, water, and fire. There's equal amounts of light and dark. Everything moves perfectly. Everything is symmetrical. Everything is ordered. The day-night cycle is perfect. The habitable, like, sphere of gravity and influence around each of these gears is a perfect circle exactly bisected by the middle of the gear. It's like, just everything's very orderly and neat and nice.
Okay. I get it. Make it fun.
Make it fun.
Why isn't it fun yet?
Why isn't it fun yet? All right. Okay. So, yeah, what's crazy about
I don't know
these
what you're expecting. Fun and Mechanus are kind of mutually exclusive.
No. All right. Look. Okay.
Fun comes in the unexpected, and that is abhorrent to Mechanus.
All right. Let's get into the stuff that's unexpected. Okay. So Mechanus connects to exactly 3 other places in the multiverse directly. It connects to, hang on, I wrote down the names. All right, so it connects
to Acheron and Arcadia.
Exactly. Yes, so it has portals to Acheron and Arcadia. Now, notably, it has exactly 1 portal to each of those places.
Makes
each
sense.
of those gears, like, has a fixed rotation duration, like some number of days. And in that cycle of rotation, each of those those portals are open on their respective gear for exactly 1 day. So rotate, rotate, rotate. Suddenly a portal to a different dimension. Rotate again. Portal goes away. There's also a portal to Sigil, but the portal to Sigil is special. It's always open, and there is nothing else on the surface of that gear. Don't know why. It's like
interesting.
Yeah, there is some weird stuff here, which seems a little nonsensical and chaotic. But
the one thing I can say in favor of Mechanus is that out of all of the planes that we've talked about so far, at least the portal, you can rely on the portals to appear at specific places at specific times and go exactly where you expect them to go to.
Yeah, that is actually pretty nice. I was going to make a joke. It's like, this is like trying to get a direct flight through Southwest. It's like, once every 2 weeks, we're going to make it open for about a whole day. And if you don't go through, that's on you.
It's funny you should. It's funny you should say that because Southwest has its headquarters in Mechanus.
Just perfectly,
honestly, along with the DMV,
completely useless. Yeah.
Maybe Boeing should learn something.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Please don't come after me.
Yeah. All right. We will. Apparently, we're not going to be sponsored by Boeing or Southwest Airlines.
Oh, shoot. We totally were going to be.
Oh, well, that's okay. All right. Cool. Okay, so it's a completely empty plane, void of all life. I get to sit on gears and spin around, and I can walk inside of both gears. Wait, what did I get wrong?
There's things
That's
here.
Right.
There's a lot of things here. There's a lot of very tiny, annoying things here.
I mean, they're human-sized.
They are human-sized. They have very punchable faces.
Okay. Still Kinder?
Kind of do, yeah.
Not Kender. Somehow worse than Kender, in my opinion.
Tell me,
because at least with Kender, you can Kender. They keep things interesting. Modrons will just annoy you to death with their constant, incessant forms and bureaucracy. Like if you've met any manager of a DMV who is like, "You filled out Form 1093. I need you to fill out Form 1091." But in order to fill out Form 1091, I need to have an approved 1093. I understand, sir, but I'm telling you what you need to do. You need to fill out 1091 form, and then I can give you the approval to do a 1093, even though you need to fill a 1093 in order to do a 1091. I want to murder myself and everybody here. Is that cool?
Okay. I love the Colonel Sanders thing that you just did. I want to tell you the real life thing that actually happened to me that is it's almost exactly what you're describing. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I took my wife out for a nice dinner in Detroit, and I parked on the street. Mistake one.
Okay.
Couple weeks later, 2 weeks later, I get a letter in the mail, and that letter is saying that I illegally parked and got a ticket. And I'm like, oh no, this must be from the time that I went downtown in Detroit and parked. But then I opened it up, and it turns out it wasn't. It had nothing to do with any trip that I had, but it actually probably took me like an hour to figure that out because anyway. Okay, let's move on. Point being, what was in this was a link that I could type in. Thank you. I typed in that link, and I went to it, and I found my ticket, and I drive a small truck with a particular license plate number. And what was in front of me was a Camry, 1 digit off my license plate number. It's a mistake. Mistakes are great. I'll call them. I'll simply explain to them. This isn't my car. This isn't my license plate. This has nothing to do with me. Good luck catching your bad guy. and the lady's like, okay, well, what you need to do is you need to fill out this form and this form. You need to sign that. You need to send it certified mail so that we can dismiss it. And I'm literally like, but no, ma'am, you don't understand. Like, it is clearly not my vehicle. And she's like, no, sir.
Sir,
you
I'm
don't understand.
I'm going to need you to stop arguing with me. I need you to fill out the forms, get it notarized, and pre-stamped, pre-flight, and send it out to us, okay? Please do not be aggressive with me, sir.
No, okay. To her credit, and I want to say this, we both got a little spicy on that call, and then we were both like, okay, but we both acknowledge this is screwed up. Good enough for me.
Yeah.
What do I have to do?
Yeah. Just imagine that person, but never acknowledging that the system is messed up because they wholeheartedly believe that the system is working. That's Modrons.
I don't want that. I hated that. And what you just said is worse.
Okay.
So much worse.
Yeah. Welcome to why everybody hates Modrons and Mechanus.
What if I continue?
I don't want to do this anymore.
Of government bureaucracy, the worst parts of government bureaucracy, except they believe that the system is working as intended.
I don't want
to. I think we figured out Randall's definition of hell on the multiverse is right here.
What if I gave you some nice optional rules? Would that make you feel better? They're optional.
But could try.
Okay, well I've got 2. How about that? We don't usually get 2. That feels wacky and chaotic.
That is better.
Yeah.
I hope actually that's the most chaotic thing that's ever happened. Are they fun?
No. Yeah. All right, so the first one is the law of averages. While on Mechanus, creatures always use the average damage result for attacks and spells. Is that fun? I mean, I guess.
Okay, wait. Do you round up or round down? I roll a d6. Is it a 3.5 or 4?
I would say 3.5. Yes.
You roll down. Yeah. I think in D&D you round up.
You round down by default, but on damage you do typically round up. So you could either add up all the dice and then round, or
yeah. So those little averages in the monster stat block where it says 19 or whatever dice.
Yeah.
You just ignore the dice now. You don't even get to roll dice in Mechanus. The one thing that people like, the one thing that defines D&D that everybody likes doing, you don't get to do that anymore.
My dice math is out the window.
Yeah.
But here's what I'll say. Great swords. Like we're running our great swords, having a great time.
Yeah.
Stabbing everybody. Just
All right. Yeah, maybe you'll like this one better. Imposing order. At the end of each long rest taken on the plane, a visitor that isn't lawful neutral must make a DC 10 wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, creature's alignment changes to lawful neutral.
Boo. It's like every other plane. Boo.
It is.
I hate it.
I really like the law of averages one. Like that feels very thematic. This one does just feel super boring like every other plane.
It's make a save or turn into Steve from copying.
Okay, if you think about like every Pod People movie you have ever seen, this is how it happens, right? Like you meet somebody and it's like, oh yeah, like I'm super enthusiastic, got a lot of personality, and then you come back the next day and it's like, I am in this line. Like what?
Yeah.
What happened to you? You used to be so much fun, and now you're in Mechanus.
Fun. I do not understand the meaning of the word. I only service productivity and cooperation. What is it? Synthesis. These corporate buzzwords that everybody likes to use.
Yeah,
we're
synergy.
In this case, I think you mean synthesis because we're just gonna. Okay, actually,
synergy.
I'm loving the idea of this. Imagine you have like a small like mountain town on the material plane, and slowly you're beginning to notice that everybody is becoming almost mechanical. They're becoming lawful neutral. We'll just skip to the end here.
Yeah,
they're becoming very boring, unanimated, no emotion, everything by the book. And you're trying to figure out what the heck is happening. What the heck is happening is Mechanus is leaking and taking over that part of the material plane. Yeah, that'd be fun, especially at the end when you got to murder these stupid Modrons.
Yeah, okay. Instead of it being an invasion or a breach from the abyss, it's a breach by Mechanus, which is almost as terrifying, I have to say.
Really? Think about it. You used to be so you, and now you're not, and I don't like that.
Stamp. He just continues to stamp in silence.
All right.
I don't seem fun to you.
Well, what if I gave you a fun stamp? Okay, I can't give you fun. What if I gave you compulsory labor?
That sounds more my speed.
All right. Okay. Hey, let's pivot to Pathfinder. Fair.
Sorry, one more bit about this because I love it. It's just imagine two guys meeting Mechanus. Hey, Bob, how's the weather today? Mild. How's your day going, Steve? Also mild. This was an acceptable conversation. Agreed. Then they just turn and walk away.
So everything's constantly rated adequate.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So Pathfinder, as we've mentioned previously on these episodes, looking at the planes, the official lore for Pathfinder doesn't have a lot of the same planes that D&D does. However, they do have a plane that is mostly dedicated to law. It's called Axis, and conceptually it falls somewhere between Mechanus and Sigil, which is a really weird place for it to be. Instead of being a plane of perfect absolute order, it is this like interplanar hub where basically anything is welcome, but it is founded on heavily lawful principles, and the native creatures there are like rigidly lawful neutral. So it's we'll get into it more later, but it's a really, really weird spot with a lot of things going on in it that feel counterintuitive. We'll talk about that more later, but it's an interesting.
Let's get into it.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about how we get.
Okay.
Well, I was going to say let's talk about how we get in and out of Mechanus, but we kind of already talked about that. Like, there's no restrictions on plane shift.
This one's simple.
Yeah. Plane shift.
Oh, but you
can
could
get in
go
from the outlands. You could go through.
You could go through Automata, but we're going to discuss why you shouldn't go through Automata. Please don't. God, why are you going through Automata? It's a horrible idea. Go anywhere else.
Okay, and then a quick preview just to make sure we're on the same page. So Automata is the name of the gate town in Sigil that you would go through to get to. Okay, so folks, remember we've talked about the gate towns in Sigil before. Yeah, Automata.
Yeah,
the pathway to Mechanus.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, how about we look at Modrons? Because I feel like that, and there's kind of a running theme here.
Yeah. Are you okay?
Modrons.
So I'm not going to surprise anybody at home. They have numbers.
They do. They also have lips, which upsets me.
Mm-hmm. It's worse, honestly.
It's very upsetting. Very upsetting.
Yeah. Okay.
Honestly, the more sides that the Modrons have, the more upsetting they get to look at. Like we'll get there, but they get upsetting. They start with lips on a robot and get worse. So Modrons are how do they get worse? What are you going to just hold up?
You don't just.
Oh yeah,
that was more of like and how? Oh, they got worse. Okay, go ahead, do your thing.
Okay, so Modrons are the only native inhabitants of Mechanus. Like Mechanus sprung into existence at the beginning of the multiverse. There was Primus, and there were the Modrons, and they were all there. At some point, depending on like the current canon interpretation, other creatures moved into Mechanus and were received in one of several ways. But almost exclusively, the things that can handle living on Mechanus are Modrons and other Modron-adjacent constructs. Because living here in the absolute absurd order that is Mechanus, kind of unpleasant for a living thing. So... Gosh, I did find one fun quote by accident in Fizban's Treasury of Dragons. Modrons have an inexplicable habit of mistaking gold dragons for their leader, Primus. The dragons don't mind, and the Modrons don't seem to mind. So why do I find this offensive? Just the idea that Modrons, these perfectly hierarchical, orderly beings, can just be like, oh, yeah, there's a dragon there. That's clearly Primus, and just do whatever that dragon says forever. Just love that idea. I mentioned the absolute hierarchy earlier, kind of as a joke, but no absolute hierarchy.
Just no. The hierarchy's fine. We're going to get to it. But we're doing fun quotes, and I would like to read you a quote.
Yeah, please.
This is from Mort. This is from Mort.
Yeah.
You want to learn Modron? Yeah, I speak it. Lesson 1, beep boop. That means hello, friend. I mean you no harm. No, really, I swears it.
Oh, Mort. What a character.
Yep, he's the best.
Were you able to maintain the wise guy accent for Mort throughout his entire appearance?
Yeah, his entire appearance is all of 5 minutes. So yes, I was able to maintain it. Yeah.
Needs more screen time, this fellow.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Hierarchy. You want to talk about hierarchy? I just wanted to give.
Yeah. All right. So Modrons exist in an absolute hierarchy, and your place in the hierarchy is based on the number of sides that you have as a Modron. Like Modrons are numbered from 1 to 10. It is possible that the numbers keep going and we just don't know about it, but they are numbered from 1 to 10, and more sides makes you better and more important, basically. So the Modron you probably picture in your head is like the spherical dude with like spindly robot arms and legs and little tiny wings. That is the monodrone, the most basic of the Modrons. There are some rules within this hierarchy, and they're a little wacky. So again, I joked about this earlier. So Modrons are only allowed to communicate with each other up or down the hierarchy one step. So a monodrone is allowed to talk to a duodrone, but they are not allowed to talk to a tridrone. Similarly, a tridrone cannot issue orders directly to a monodrone. They need a duodrone intermediary.
This is why I hate Modrons.
Yeah.
It
Imagine.
seems scary though. Like, if you were the one, I'm going to say sentient because I cannot believe that you would consider these creatures sentient. That's its own conversation. We could pause that. But imagine you're like the one sentient monodron. Monodron.
Yeah.
And you see like a 3-sided coming at you, and you're just like, nope, gonna walk away. No. You approach the 3-sided, the 2-sided coming at you. If you never let a 2-sided drone talk to you, the duo drone, then no one can ever give you orders.
Congratulations, you are now a rogue Modron. You're no longer bound by the absolute hierarchy, but every other Modron in the multiverse is duty bound to hunt you to extinction.
Yeah, you're also
that's less good. That's
you're
less
also
good.
probably the worst person that's ever existed.
Yeah, rogue Modrons seem to suck.
Yeah, rogue Modrons are worse than Kender, than what people think Kender are. Like every rogue Modron that I've ever met in a setting has been the absolute worst person that has made me want to kill them in incredibly creative ways. They suck. So just if you think Modrons got better when they broke away from the horrible hierarchy, no, they somehow get even worse.
Okay. All right. Okay. So this isn't going to work either. That's fine. All right. Okay. I can only take.
So consider this. The reason why they suck is because in order to break free of Mechanus, you need to be the exact opposite of your alignment. So you are, instead of being the embodiment of lawful, neutral, bureaucratic, nightmare bullcrap, you're now the goblin chaotic neutral. Just, I'm going to do nothing and you can't predict anything that I can say. The kind of chaotic neutral that makes everybody wants to punch you in the face. If you're like, well, that's what my character would do because I'm chaotic neutral, so obviously I would burn a town down. Wild card! Anyway.
Accurate.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So there's one other really interesting thing about the absolute hierarchy, and it has to do with how monodrones die. So when a Modron dies, they're immediately replaced in the hierarchy. So one of their subordinate Modrons is immediately promoted to fill their space and I'm going to try that again. When a Modron dies, one of their subordinate Modrons is immediately promoted to fill their space, like instantly transforms at the moment of death. And Modrons also disintegrate when they die, leaving a small pile of ash. So like a quadrone dies, their body disintegrates, the nearest tridrone becomes a quadrone, and then so on down the chain until a monodrone is promoted. And then there's now a gap for a monodrone, and Primus, the absolute Lord of Order, instantly creates a monodrone. So there is a constant stream of monodrones marching out from Primus's fortress as Modrons are being slain throughout the multiverse. So, as far as I can tell, there is a perfectly stable and finite number of Modrons in the multiverse at any given time.
Correct. It has to.
Yeah. Like if they're
the real question is how many of them are properly serving.
That is a harder question to answer. Hard to say.
Yeah.
I wonder if the rogue Modron thing becomes like a numbers problem. It's like, oh, we have X Modrons. Some of them are rogue. We need more Modrons. So we're going to have to go kill the rogue ones to replace their numbers. Like that could be a thing. I don't know, actually.
100%.
Yeah.
If it gets over like 5%, the whole system falls over. Like yeah.
Let's see. Okay, so let's look at the individual mod.
One thing to also keep in mind, if you thought that there was like some sense making to this, prepare to be disappointed, because so you have,
I don't think I could be more disappointed.
You have base you have base Modrons, right? That are considered just like the subordinates, and then you have hierarch Modrons.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow a hexton, which is 6, for 6, has more power than a decaton. Don't know how that makes sense.
Yeah,
but then when you look at monodrones, it continues to go up to pentadrones. So like if you have more sides, you're higher in the hierarchy in the base Modron category. But suddenly it reverses and goes down. It's real weird. It's real weird.
Yeah.
so like the largest tier is the middle management layer?
Not even. Like it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and then Primus.
Wait,
okay, to be clear though,
I'm looking at it. So they don't have stat blocks for all these because obviously. So the base ones that we have are monodrone, of which it also gives me the population of them.
Does it
so
really?
monodrones, which there are monodrones, of which there are about 300. This is
where is
Forgotten
the population?
Realms Wiki.
Oh, okay. So
Forgotten Realms
has
Wiki.
actual numbers. I missed that.
Yeah.
Nice.
So monodrone has 300 million across the multiverse.
It's a big number.
Duodrone has 55 million. Tridrones have 6 million. Quadrones have 1.5 million. And pentadrones, which are the top of the base, have 500,000 in existence. So those are the base Modrons. Then we move into the hierarch Modrons. Decaton, which are the lowest, have 100 in existence. Nonatons have 81. Octons have 64. Septons have 49. Hextons have 36. Quintons have 25. Quartons have 16. Tertions have 9. And Secundus has 4.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what? I'm wondering. And you'll have to. The math people are going to have to tell me: are these prime numbers?
Oh,
4 is not.
I wasn't paying enough attention.
No.
Yeah, so
4 is not. Okay.
81 is also not. But they're squares.
I think, they are squares, and I think that they can be divided in half. Yeah, they can be divided in half by their title. I think because like Tertian 3 divided by 9 is 3. Secundus.
So is it just the number squared?
Divided by 4 is 2. Oh. So yeah, I think it's the number squared is how many there are in existence.
Okay.
Excluding like the lower ends, but
excluding the base. I'm just talking about the hierarchs. The hierarchs. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36. Like those are the numbers?
No, the numbers are 100, 81, 64, 49, 36, 25, 16, 19, 9, and 5.
I was going bottom top. You're going
up. Gotcha.
Yeah, okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah, those are all the perfect squares. I didn't notice that when you were saying aloud.
Yeah.
Neat. Cool.
Damn you, Wizards of the Coast, making me do math.
No, but now it's really easy to remember, though, right? Like, how many of these are there? How many sides did you have?
Yeah. Okay, so it sounds like the hierarchs might deviate from the sides thing, but I didn't find art of anything with more than 10 sides. Okay, so let's look at what these Modrons actually are, because I find it kind of interesting. So monodrones, they're the basic ones. They can do exactly one thing at a time. They're utterly incapable of holding a second thought in their brain at the same time. Utterly incapable. They can also deliver messages of up to 48 words, which is specifically called out in their stat block and makes you wonder, like, why that? Why that specific limited capacity? But apparently just not a lot going on in the brain. Above them, the duodrones, they can do 2 things at once. Their primary function is to supervise monodrones. Tridrones, they lead lower Modrons in battle, and literally that is their sole function. Quadrones, similarly, they are field officers. They look like a cube with wings, so it's like a monodrone, but square. Pentadrones, they look like a starfish with legs underneath it, and I find that deeply upsetting for some reason. Weirdly, they don't appear to have like a military application. The description for them says they oversee workers in Mechanus, and they're capable of improvising, which raises the question, can any of the others? And apparently the answer is no.
Yeah. That is terrifying, though.
Yeah. All right, and then the hierarchs, like Ash described. So the Decaton, they're the least of the hierarch. Decaton, thank you.
Yeah, because hierarchs, the way you can distinguish hierarchs from base is the base will use the drone subcategory. The other ones will use ton.
That makes sense. Okay, so Decaton, bottom of the hierarchs, their job is to monitor the physical well-being of the base Modrons. So they're basically doctors for all the ones we just talked about. The Nonatons, their whole job is to bring in rogue Modrons. It looks like they also interrogate trespassers in Mechanus. It's like, I don't know how you exactly become a Yeah, they're basically cops, apparently. Octons oversee governance of Mechanus's sectors, and so if they oversee Mechanus's sectors, I'm curious to know, like, what do they qualify as a sector? Because if we know that there's a finite number of them, we know exactly how big Mechanus is. If we assume like one gear is a sector, that means that there are exactly 64 gears in Mechanus.
That's true. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But we can at least quantify that there are 64 sectors in Mechanus, whatever that number is. There are 64 of them.
Yes.
Well, unless there's like a many to one, like there's 2 auditors, or better yet, 3 auditors per sector. Granted, if there's 64 of them, that's not going to work.
There are at least 64.
Yeah.
But I'm going the opposite direction. If it was like a 4-to-1 ratio, if I had 4 auditors per sector, then there would only be 16 sectors, each with 4 auditors.
Oh. I want to kill myself. I mean,
let's just assume there's 64. All right, Septons. So they're the auditors. Like their job is to audit things. Yeah, I know. The accountants of the multiverse. They literally monitor the multiverse and make sure everything is working as intended. Which, how do you look at the chaotic planes and be like, that looks great from Mechanus?
This is fine.
Yeah.
This is fine.
Oh no. I found art of them.
Yeah, they're weird looking.
Mm-hmm.
Most of these are weird looking.
They have like a bird. They have a bird head and elephant feet and like spindly little gross arms. Yeah,
this is not ideal.
They're horrible. They're horrible looking. I do not like that.
Have you seen the art for Decatons? They're metal soccer balls with really meaty human legs. It's like
yes, I have. They're in the Planescape book. So yeah. Don't like.
All right. Okay. Hextons, literally, they're just field generals. Like these are the ones that lead the Great Modron March. Now, I don't actually know about the hierarchs above this, what they look like and what they're specifically tasked with. Ash, it sounds like you found more information than I did. What do you have?
I'm looking at it. So Quintons were above Hextons.
Okay.
It doesn't exactly say what their job is, though.
They're just.
Let me see.
That's a job.
Oh, okay. They acted as bureau chiefs and record keepers of Mechanus.
Okay.
Each Quinton had a Hexton assistant. Quarton, which are above them. There are exactly 16 Quartons in Modron Society, each overseeing the operation of the bureaus, sector, governors, and army units attached to their region. It sounds like we're just repeating stuff now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess they're the one they're one on above. Like, since this is also kind of like how a corporate pyramid like structure kind of works. So I guess that makes sense. You always have a boss above you. Tertian they were the judges, judging and sentencing both Modrons and non-natives. 9 Tertians exist, with 8 of them reporting to Secundae.
Yeah, you always have a boss, unless you're a CEO, in which case you obviously report to Primus.
Yeah. The fewest of were Secundi. There were only ever 4 in existence. Allowed to be 4 in existence. They could communicate with other Secundi, relaying orders to Tertians under their command, but they reported directly to Primus itself. Each Secundus was a viceroy in charge of one of the 4 quarters of their realm in Mechanus. They could communicate telepathically with anyone within a 420-mile radius. Wow. Secundi were always created as the result of a Tertian being promoted to take the place of a killed or further promoted Secundus. If Primus died, one of the Secundi was promoted and took its place as the new Primus.
Yeah, so they're semi-immortal greater deity. Just the top of a pyramid scheme. You topple that guy, you get a new one right away. Weird.
Yeah, if you want to know what Secundus look like, this is a very specific reference, so follow me for a second.
Okay.
Do you know in Aladdin where the genie is talking to Aladdin, he goes, there's a few quid pro quo, a few stipulations like that. His face gets kind of long, and he's like, that's what these guys look like. Just that. 100 like long spindly arms, long spindly fingers, very long sort of prestigious faces. I'm going to link this picture in the chat, and you guys will be like, oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
All right.
But yeah, they are. I do not like the way they look. They make me want to punch them. Most Modrons make me want to punch them. So
okay, and then right, you're pulling the lore. This is the lore of Mechanus. If you were looking for stat blocks, I think it's worth warning the reader what you're actually going to find between the monster manual and the content in Mort's Planar Parade are like the monodrone through the pentadrone, so 1 through 5, and then you're going to find the hexton through the nonaton, the hierarchical.
No, also decaton. It was added in Planescape.
Yeah.
No, I apologize. Hexton to the decaton. You're absolutely right.
But yeah, if you want any higher than that, you're going to have to look at previous editions because they don't have stat blocks for quintons, quartons, tertians, or secundus.
Unfortunately.
And so tell the story, right? Like 100% engage, use the lore, tell the story as you want to tell it. You know, you could probably grab one of these stat sheets and basically like bump it up or down accordingly and probably have a great time with it. But you can literally just look up the ones that we just shared with you.
Yeah.
All right.
I want to ask a Primus question.
Yeah.
And I apologize. My
Go
brain
on.
is a sieve, or as Tyler, you like to say, pish pash, my memory is trash.
Yeah.
We have done an episode where I want to say it was the episode on Slotty, like we actually did that.
Mhm.
But we have done an episode where what we talked about was there was Primus, and Primus did something, and generally everybody thought that it was bad.
I know what you're talking about.
That's all. Okay.
I think I know what you're talking about. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Which
we were talking about Pandemonium.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about
Okay.
Pandemonium, and I mentioned the history where Orcus, as part of his plot to come back from being murdered, he was the god of Shadow Tenebris, and he killed Primus, usurped his position, and sent the Modrons on a death march, like on the Great Modron March, but more corrupt and stuff like that. So that's probably what you're thinking of.
Okay, wait. No, okay, keep going. This isn't ringing any bells. But
the other thing that you're probably thinking of, we've mentioned Primus quite a few times on this podcast because Primus, he's kind of an important figure.
Okay.
So the other big thing that Primus was involved in was the creation of the Nine House, or at least how Asmodeus and how that hierarchy works. Basically, a bunch of angels accused Asmodeus of being a jerk, and he didn't really think that he was being a jerk. So they had a whole sort of like back and forth trial that Primus officiated, and eventually it just sort of devolved into like people trying to fight each other. So Primus basically said, "Okay, here's what we're gonna do. So you and your servants are bound by this ruby rod, who
Ruby rod.
The ruby rod impels them to take souls, like and to like make deals with souls and stuff like that. But essentially, they're not allowed to like actually break out of hell and rule the world as long as they have the ruby rod. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Maybe.
Okay, real quick. I didn't know impel was a word, and that's a fun word. I know compel. I don't know impel. I'm going to look that up later. I'm very excited about it. At first, I thought impale, as in the ruby rod impales on it. It's like sweet rod. All right, let's go.
I believe impel is a word.
No, I 100% believe that it is. I'm going to go learn. I just wanted to share that. I'm oversharing. Okay, no.
Yeah.
The thing that I remember was like beautiful.
The slot thing, right?
Okay, so there's the Slotty. Yeah. The Slotty are in limbo, and apparently the Modrons were there, and the Slotties started like killing all the Modrons and kicking them out of limbo.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, this is the spawning stone. So Primus famously,
okay,
a lord of absolute order, looked at the plane of limbo, the plane of absolute chaos, and said, well, we can't have this. This will spill out into the other planes. So he puts this giant rock into limbo, thinking, this will settle things down over there, and it very much did not. And now we have Slotty. Whatever. Yeah. Even their grammar
Primus,
is chaotic.
You're a jerk.
Yeah. The Slotty are maybe the chief antagonists of the Modrons, like they're arch enemies.
Well, okay, that's the reason I was bringing it up, because I remember like the Slotty actively hunting Modrons, and at that point in time, I felt really bad for the Modrons, and now halfway through this episode, all of a sudden I'm like, you know what, Slotty had a point.
Yeah, don't feel bad for them.
I love that Primus did that, and
hold on, I have to make the obvious joke.
Okay,
I am Optimus Primus. Now you can continue.
Thank you. All right. Yeah, I love that Primus like said about this plan, was like, well, that didn't work, and then just left it, like didn't clean it up, didn't deal with the consequences. It was just like, didn't work. I'm going home. Way to go, Primus. Good for you.
Job well done.
Yeah, managed to largely confine Asmodeus to hell. Managed to bind all devils to actually follow the contracts that they signed. Like, that was a pretty great accomplishment. Did good things for the multiverse. But then he's just like, I threw a rock through the window of limbo and just left.
Yeah, it's gotten to the point where you'd be fooled to think you'd be forgiven for thinking that Primus is the prime deity. Sort of like how Odin and Zeus are like the people who keep the other gods in line. He's not. Just so you know, it's this random guy named Ao who we'd never heard of before until like 4th edition. But yeah, he's the big daddy in charge. He only shows up when people are being too loud on his lawn, and then he's like, "Shut up! I'm going back to sleep."
Pretty much.
My favorite thing about the Slotty is that they inherited the Modron instinct for hierarchy, and like you go from one to the other to the other. Like you go from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, except for now you go from what, like, green to red to blue to gray or whatever the order was. Except for in the Slotty's case, it is completely chaotic. There is no actual like climbing of rank. You just go from one monstrosity to another monstrosity. If I remember correctly, one of them all of a sudden was humanoid or something. That was weird. Or aberration. And then all of a sudden you became a monstrosity. Like, it's like, yeah, we'll do your transformation thing too. We're just going to do it in the worst way possible with absolute chaos. Good job, Primus. Nailed it.
So should we talk about the Gate Town?
Okay, I've got one more thing on creatures that live in Mechanus, because there are things that live there that aren't Modrons. So, Ash, you told the story of how Orcus was killed, came back as a deity of shadows, killed Primus, and then sent the Modrons out in the multiverse. He was looking for the Rod of Orcus so he could go back to being Orcus. Like, that's why he did that. But it was very much like, yeah, I've got an infinite army. Deathmark. So while most of the Modrons were away, these creatures called Formians, not Fomorians. Fomorians are ugly giants. Formians are ant centaurs. Like, imagine an ant that was a centaur. They're intelligent. They're lawful and orderly because ants. But they invade.
So ant up top,
ant on bottom,
ant up top, and horse in the back, or human up top, ant in back.
It's like humanoid ant up top, and then ant on bottom.
Okay, all right, I'm cool with this.
Yeah,
Formian's interesting. So, do you know what is in like an ant sting injection?
I don't.
Formic acid.
Oh, that's clever. Okay.
I wonder. Right. I wonder. Like, it could have been completely unrelated, but that's where my head goes.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, Formians. They moved into Mechanus, and they're just there now. Like, I guess they were orderly enough that the Modrons never saw a need to get rid of them, but allegedly they're just there. There's not a ton of information about any of that in the official 5e canon, so I don't know like where that stands currently, but yeah, Formians, they're there. There's also a ton of deities that have had realms on Mechanus at various points in time. Most of them are pretty minor deities of like balance and order and things like that. There's one Forgotten Realms deity of revenge, like specifically cyclical revenge, which makes sense for this. But it is very weird. All right, so yeah, Ash, tell me about Automata. Automata? I don't know.
Who knows? I've been calling it Automata. So Automata is the. I'm gonna hit you. So Automata is the gate town on the Outlands, and it sucks. Like, it's not a fun place to be. It's basically, think of any sort of, like, you know how we've been talking about obstructive bureaucracy and all that stuff? That's basically what Automata is. So the reason why I said before why you shouldn't try to go through the gate in Automata to get to Mechanus is because it's going to be a miserable experience for you. So you'll come to the gate town, you'll be able to clearly see the gate. There's a train that goes through it and everything. The train has an eye and lips because why, dear God? Why?
Yeah, look at that guy.
People with cameras, look at that. Lips on a train. This is what they did.
And also kind of a mustache. I don't know why they do this. But anyway, good luck getting into the gate, because apparently in order to even stand in line, you need to go to the Hall of Order to get a permit you need to get a ticket to stand in line. To get a ticket to stand in line, it can take anywhere from like 3 years to maybe a century. It really just kind of depends on how many people are there. Once you get that, you're then given a gigantic stack of paperwork that the book then says you roll like a D10. That's how many days it's going to be for you to fill out this paperwork. Jeez. And if you get anything wrong, you have to make a check. If you get anything wrong, you have to stand in that line again and do it all over again.
Tell me when it's done.
Yeah, that's just to get the ticket to stand in line, by the way. Once you're in line, it takes another maybe year to get to the front of the queue to get into to finally board the train to get to Mechanus. Do not go to Mechanus through Automata unless you hate yourself. So yeah, do not recommend. It's over. It's over until you can come back.
You promise? You promise?
Well, that part's over. I'm not done with Automata. There's still stuff here.
Get worse?
Yeah, it depends on your perspective. Yes and no. There's also there is one place that people come here, tavern, and I put that in heavy quotation marks, called the Divine Machine. It's described as owned by Belda Beanfoot. And basically the way that I described this, think of any corporate cafeteria.
Good.
That's Divine Machine. And so I had Belda Beanfoot, when the party got there, come out and be like, well, welcome. We're all part of a family here. So if you have any questions, feel free to get and talk to me. I'm going to make sure that if you have any complaints, I will file them. You can feel free to file them with your nearest HR department. Okay. But in the meantime, can I get you folks some nutritious sustenance to help you go about your day? And that I'm not even exaggerating that much, because the Divine Machine sells functional food. It doesn't sell enjoyable food.
It's like Huel or Soylent Green.
Yeah, it's food. It's food designed to recover your nutritional values so you can continue being a productive member of society. Also, the something that they demand that you do, and this might be a nice thing depending on who you are. If you want a beverage, they demand that you tell them exactly what temperature you want your beverage at, or they will not prepare it for you. So it's like, I would like coffee. How hot would you like the coffee? Hot. I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said. What temperature would you like the coffee? I just want it like the normal temperature. I'm sorry, I need an actual temperature. 180 degrees? Okay, it will be exactly 180 degrees. Are you sure that's what you want?
Well, no. That's not. You have said nothing meaningful yet. What
Fahrenheit?
What system? Fahrenheit? Celsius?
Yeah, Fahrenheit. It's Fahrenheit. It's Fahrenheit.
Kelvin?
It's fair. Oh, that is true. They would say that. They would be like, which system of measurement? Kelvin?
Yeah.
Fahrenheit?
Yeah.
Celsius? Yeah. So it's a nightmare. One of my players did burn his mouth because he ordered it way too hot because he didn't know how it worked.
Okay, I have to ask you, as a DM, how would you rule it if I ordered something impossibly hot?
You would get exactly that. You get exactly that. Mm-hmm. So if you wanted coffee the temperature of the sun, they would put it in front of you and it would instantly melt and set you on fire. So
I love like the fireball that goes off. Like, just there's actually like a concussion there, just like cavitation. That's the word I'm looking for. Cavitation of heat. Just I destroyed the atomic.
Oh, are you ready for the worst part about Automata?
Sure.
So everything, and I mean everything, is on a metronome system. So you come into the city, you hear constant ticking, and not only do the birds flap their wings in rhythm with the metronome clicks and chirp in rhythm to the metronome clicks, the people talk in rhythm to the metronome clicks. It's awful.
That does sound horrendous.
Yeah. Also, anybody who is of a chaotic alignment and enters Automata, you have disadvantage on everything. Everything.
Really?
Because it fills you with so much disdain, anxiety, and gives you a mental headache that you just have disadvantage on all checks. All checks.
Awesome.
Wait, okay, we have to take a quick time out. Delta absolutely wins chat tonight. Is the metronome, spelled METROGNOME, the conductor of the train?
Sure, why not?
A metronome with cool beard and the hat.
Okay. But for those of you who are hating what you're hearing so far, I might have some good news for you. So, so the one thing is that, so we talked about this before, I believe. So gate towns have to walk this fine line of not being too emblematic of their home plane, because then they risk what's called cosmic realignment, where the gate town is just absorbed back into the home plane. So in order to do that, every gate town has to have a cosmic balance. And because of how ordered Automata is, almost mind-numbingly so, they need to have a pretty good counterbalance. The counterbalance is there's an entire other city underneath Automata called the Inverse. You can access it pretty easily. They will direct you where it is. because it's not a secret. You go into a manhole cover and gravity just reverses. You're now upside down, essentially, walking on the ceiling. And everything as ordered as Automata is...
Lionel Richie for you.
It is the exact opposite of that. Everything has no order. Everything is chaos all the time. And instead of having the Hall of Order, they have the Hall of Disorder. And one of the great things that I love about this is that, so if you're on trial in Automata, like you need to come prepared with like all of these facts, figures and stuff like that. In the Hall of Disorder, if you're taken there and arrested, the person who wins is the person who gives the most outlandish, non-reasoned argument. Like, sir, obviously my client can't be guilty of the crime that they committed because they were wearing blue pants and scratching their balls. So it's just like,
obviously, yeah,
obviously, yeah. The most nonsensical argument tends to win in the case. So it has no order to it. So it's basically just people yelling at each other. Like, I believe there was I forget what movie it was, but they come in to this courthouse and it's just a bunch of people yelling. Oh, Idiocracy. Yes, that's what it is. He goes to a courthouse and everybody's just yelling at each other and throwing things at each other. And after 5 minutes, like, okay, you were found guilty. He's like, but we didn't do anything. He's like, yeah, that's how it goes. But basically, the way I describe it, when my players went down there because they had to find an NPC who was arrested for color coordinating her clothes too much in Inverse, where they hate that. Yeah, they don't like color coordination. Only crimes against fashion, please. And so they had to go into the Hall of Disorder, which was just like a series of offices with people like throwing poo at each other and just running around, like writing on the walls. There was one guy that was like, just drawing random pictures with a crayon and stuff, and people are like, which way to the cells? They're like, oh, it's that way. And then they go and they're just like, it's a dead end. They come back, which way to the cells? Oh, it's that way. And they're just like, you're not going to tell us where it is, are you? No. They also met a duo drone that I invented that they absolutely hated, who basically anytime they ask him a question, he would always lie to them. Just always.
Perfect.
And so, yeah, like they were asking him directions and he kept sending them on wild goose chases. And when they came back to like, okay, dude, can you please just tell us what we need to know? And he's like, yes, I'm sorry. I just am messing with you. Obviously, it's down this way. And they come back like, what the hell, dude? It's like, how do you not get how this works? I'm never going to be honest with you. And they tried to trick him and he caught on to what they were doing and still gave them the wrong information. And so like, can I kill this guy? Please, can I kill this guy? I hate this guy so much. So yeah, Automata is a sucky place to be. Don't go there.
Okay. All right. I have one landmark in Automata that's not it. For some reason, it is not in Planescape Adventures in the Multiverse. I don't understand why, because it's super important. So the place is called the Hall of Concordance, and it is a building in Automata, whatever. It's a building there specifically for the signing of contracts. You sign contracts overseen by a creature called the Collier Root. And the Collier Root will draft the contract, inscribe it in gold, and ensure that the terms of the contract are, extremely detailed and there's zero ambiguity in them. So every party involved should be able to read it, clearly understand it, and nobody's going to put in any like weasel words or sneaky language or nonsense like that. And then
that sounds nice.
Yeah. And then when the contract is signed, it is entombed in a creature called a Marut.
The reason why the Hall of Concordance is not mentioned in the Automata section of the Planescape book is because they moved it to Sigil.
Did they really? Okay. Mm-hmm. I must have been reading.
Yeah.
Okay.
Collier Roots. It says in their entry on Mort's Planar Parade. Created by Primus, the leader of the Modrons, the Collier Root is a wondrous machine, blah, blah, blah. From the Hall of Concordance in Sigil, the Collier Root judges the needs of planar beings.
Okay.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I think I got my sources mixed up. All right. Well, yeah. I still think
weird.
It's cool.
They work for Primus, but they operate out of Sigil. I agree with you. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but it is what it is.
Feels relevant.
It might make sense.
We talked about it.
It might make sense because it's like more of a neutral ground. Like if chaotic creatures are going to have disadvantage on everything, going to Automata to be made to sign a contract seems kind of unfair. So having it in Sigil does make a bit more sense. But I just you sign this contract, it gets put in a Marut, which is a CR25 plane hopping golem, essentially. Their entire job is to enforce that contract, and if you break the contract, they'll show up and they will use any means specified in the contract, and if no means are specified in the contract, they'll just kill you.
Yeah, and good luck fighting them, because all of their hits are automatic hits. They always hit.
Magic missile of fists.
Yeah, exactly. It's called Unerring Strike. Collier Roots work the same way. All of their attacks just automatically hit.
It is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So So we're running a little short on time. So I don't think we're going to get to talk about Axis very much. But I do want to hit the Great March of the
Modron March.
I want to hit that real quick because it's neat.
Yeah.
Okay. So famously, the Modrons march across the plains. There's art of this in the Player's Handbook, the 2014 Player's Handbook. Like, there's 3 heroes hiding under like a bridge or something with Modrons marching across the top. So this apparently happens every 289 years. Why that amount? No idea. The best explanation I found was like the gear where Primus's fortress is, it completes some number of rotations, and then it's like, oh yeah, it just happens to also be 289 years. Modrons go march, and they march through the plains doing something. The best hypothesis anyone has is they're basically out to correct bits of the workings of the multiverse that have gotten too chaotic since the last mark. But it's always very vague. It always causes all kinds of destruction and madness, and of course, so many dead Modrons. So there's just a constant wall of monodrones marching out from Primus as this happens. It's very silly.
Wait, how many did you say it was?
289.
Yeah.
Okay. If you sum the squares from 1 to 81, or 1 to 9, you get 285. I was really hoping that
would have been cool.
But yeah, if the Great Modron March is really interesting, like it's really mysterious and it just kind of happens, and it is like a force of nature. Basically, the reason people are like, why are they hiding from the Modron March in that picture? Is the Modron March bad? No, it's just the Modrons are in a mission, and if you're in their way, they will trample you. They don't care. So yeah, just stay out of their way. And it's a lot of them. It's not like a small amount. It's hundreds and hundreds of these Modrons are just stomping through. They don't care if you're a child. They don't care if you're in your way. If you are in their path, you are getting mowed down. That's just kind of how it goes. So you see them coming, stay out of their way. But if you like the Modron March, check out Turn of Fortune's Wheel, because it does play, this isn't really a huge spoiler, but it does play a role in Turn of Fortune's Wheel. So yeah.
Got it. All right.
Okay. All hail the Leisure Illuminati.
Hail.
I'm Randall James. You'll find me on amateurjack.com and on Twitter and Instagram at JackAmateur.
I'm Tyler Campster. You'll find me enforcing absolute order on RPGBOT.net, Facebook and Twitter, RPGBOT.Net, both places where I'm much more chaotic, and most other socials as RPGBot.
Statement. Greeting fleshbags. My name is Ash Eli. You can find me on Twitter at Redacted, or you can find me running games for your party at startplaying.games. Link in the description.
If you've enjoyed the show, please rate and review us on Apple Podcast and rate us on Spotify or your favorite podcast app. It's a quick, free way to support the podcast and helps us to reach new listeners. You'll find links in the show notes. You'll find affiliate links for sourcebooks and other materials linked in the show notes, as well as on RPGBOT.net. Following these links helps us to make this show happen every week. If your question should be the question of the week next week, please email podcast@RPGBOT.net or message us on Twitter at RPGBOT.Net. The RPGBOT.store exists and sells t-shirts and other things too. You should visit it. Please also consider supporting us on Patreon, where you can find all kinds of great rewards. At any tier, you'll get early access to RPGBOT.content and polls for future content. At our $3 tiers, you'll enjoy your choice of ad-free access to RPGBOT.net or ad-free podcast episodes and access to live stream podcast recordings. At our $5 tiers and above, you'll get all of that, plus access to the RPGBOT.Discord. You'll find us at patreon.com/RPGBOT.
All right, I'm going to sneak in some Axis facts right at the end real quick. Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to do that. I was exactly hoping you would do that. Go.
Yeah.
All right, real fast. Axis, city in the Pathfinder multiverse. It's at the base of the spire that Pharasma lives on. So like giant multiverse spanning spike with death at the top. City of Axis, 3 great big poles in the middle. No idea what they are. Don't understand. They have a really cool name though. Can't remember what it is. The city is absolutely freaking massive. There are individual neighborhoods within the city that are size of nations, and they're so large that they have to be interconnected with portals so you have any hope of getting around the city. And a bunch of these little mini city nations are also the realms of deities, but the deities that are there are generally the lawful ones, like the god of commerce, the god of civilization, the god of invention, the god of self-perfection and enlightenment, all of those guys. But also the city has like a sewer level. The entire massive, stupidly large sewer level is the realm of Norgorber, the god of secrets, murder, and being a jerk. I don't know why he gets so much space, but he can just pop up anywhere, stab people, and go back down to his realm.
I have a suggestion.
Norgorber.
Why don't we just do an episode on Access?
Honestly, that's all of the material.
I think you just did it.
Yeah, that's kind of all there
I think you
is.
did it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I just
Also,
speedran
little known fun fact about Access: they were the bad guys in World War II.
That's good. That's who Jimi Hendrix told people to ask about in Bold as Love.